fella named Joe Borton, pitching for the Philadelphia White Stockings, shut out the Chicago White Stockings 4-0. That would be the first of 284 no-hitters. Maybe the best of them all was pitched last week by Clayton Kershaw when he struck out 15 and didn't walk anybody. And tonight he's trying to do something that only Johnny Vandermeer's ever done, pitch back-to-back no-hitters. On this, Sandy Koufax's 59th anniversary of Koufax making his Major League debut. Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Kansas City Royals in Game 2 of this 3-game series. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner, along with Oral Hershiser and Nomar Garciaparra. And, of course, whenever Kershaw pitches, he makes news, and tonight even more so than usual.
Yeah, we need to turn back the clock and look at the last outing and break down why he was so good and what we expect tonight. Of those 107 pitches that were absolutely exceptional, it looked like the breaking ball was the out pitch. The fastball, let's narrow that to 50%. The slider at 30%, and the curveball, let's give that 20%. Well, the key pitch for me really was the slider, and it has been for 2014. He's tightened it up. He's throwing it harder. It's at 88 miles an hour now, and it is definitely not only a pitch that made him a pitcher, but it is a put-away pitch. Clayton Kershaw in that no-hitter, Kansas City can expect more of that great slider. Look at the out pitches. The slider was there, the curveball was there, and only one strikeout out of the 15 was on a fastball. Clayton Kershaw was on top of his game. I expect him to be on top of his game again, and I expect Kansas City to have to hit the curveball or the slider.
And Nomar, the Dodgers are going to have to find a way to score some runs against Danny Duffy.
Yeah, tough lefty on the hill. So reason why when you look at this Dodger lineup that it is predominantly right-handed. Only one lefty in the lineup at Adrian Gonzalez. Let's look at the numbers that the Dodgers have put up this year against lefties. Just a .227 average, which ranks 29th in the major leagues. You see those 16 home runs and where that ranks, and just a slugging percentage of .363. Two other numbers that you really need to understand here is Danny Duffy. He's only given up 5 earned runs in his last 4 starts, and he has a .079 batting average against versus lefties.
Dodgers looking to rebound from their opening game loss in this 3-game set. Kershaw's on the hill tonight against another lefty, Danny Duffy, back with the lineups and first pitch after this.
make their way into Kauffman Stadium. Of course, Dodgers fans hoping that the Los Angeles Dodgers can even up the series. Kansas City taking game one of a 3-game set. Hello, everybody, and welcome inside Kauffman Stadium. I'm Alana Rizzo. Of course, all eyes will be on Dodgers ace Clayton Kershaw, who is fresh off the first no-hitter of his already illustrious career. We want to take a look since 1914 as far as fewest hits allowed in the first start after throwing a no-hitter. Johnny Vandermeer leads the way, of course, back-to-back no-hitters, the only player to ever do that back in 1938. Howard Emke back in September of 1923 allowed 1 hit in 9 innings. Dennis Eckersley, a lot more recent, back in June of 1977, took 6 innings before he gave up 1 hit. And then Steve Busby, May 4th, 1973, 5 2/3, he gave up 1 hit. What will Clayton Kershaw do tonight against this Kansas City Royals lineup? After the break, Charlie Steiner, Nomar Garcia-Parra, and the Oral Hershiser on the call. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Most of the bad weather that was in Kansas City yesterday has come and gone, so we should be ready to play as the Dodgers have won 7 of their last 10, 10 of their last 15. The Royals, 11 of their last 15 they have won. Of course, all eyes will be on Clayton Kershaw tonight. Can he do what no man, with the exception of Johnny Vandermeer, has ever done? Back-to-back no-hitters. There have been 284 of them since they first started making records for baseball back in 1875. A fellow named Joe Borden threw the very first one, and nobody has thrown a better one than Clayton Kershaw. Of course, 15 strikeouts, no walks, 107 pitches. And interestingly enough, on this day 59 years ago, Sandy Koufax made his debut with the Dodgers in Milwaukee against the Braves. Here's the lineup that Don Mattingly's put together tonight. As you see, Dee Gordon's got the night off. So does Andre Ethier. Hanley Ramirez, his shoulder's barking. And so it's going to be Turner leading off, to be followed by Matt Kemp. Yasiel Puig has done well in interleague play. Gonzalez, Van Slyke, A.J. Ellis. Jamie Romack in right field. Carlos Trienfeld is at shortstop. Miguel Rojas is the second baseman tonight, hitting .290 in his brief tour of duty. Tonight's Honda starting pitcher for the Kansas City Royals. Southern California product from Lompoc And it's 25-year-old Danny Duffy.
Well, Danny Duffy coming off 4 quality starts. You know, the number I said at the open, under 100 lefties batting average against. He's pretty dominantly a 2-pitch pitcher. Will come at you with a fastball, curveball. Fastball is over 70% of the time, but he gets that average around 93 miles an hour. Will pump it up all the way to 96. So look for the fastball and be ready.
3rd-round pick in 2007 by the Kansas City Royals. 6'3" and 205. Duffy, his 16th appearance, his 10th start, 4-6, a 2.80 ERA, and as Omar mentioned, he has been especially tough against left-handers.
Yeah, the key with him on left-handers is he speeds them up so much because of the hard fastball. The breaking ball, even when it has bad location, still dominates them. And learned an awful lot about pitching when they had him in the bullpen as far as the makeup he needs to have on the mound. He's a very aggressive, spirited young man, and he needs to contain that on the mound to be a good starter.
Dodgers, of course, have struggled this year against left-handed pitching, hitting just .222 against lefties as opposed to .268 against right-handed pitching. And so here's Justin Turner. His hip and his calf still giving him some problem, but certainly not enough to keep him out of the lineup. And he's leading off tonight and playing at 3rd base. Juan Uribe, another night of rehab at Rancho, another day or two, and the Dodgers expect to have Uribe back. So it'll be Turner and Kemp and Puig to bat here in the 1st inning. The Dodgers losing last night 5-3. Jeremy Guthrie was simply too good as he won his 5th game of the year. Turner's been hot. He's at .298, and the first pitch is a strike, 0-1. Game starting a couple of minutes late at 7:12. Kansas City Royals 4 games over 500, 2 behind the Tigers in the American League Central as Duffy misses outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Ned Yost in his 5th year as the manager of the Kansas City Royals especially likes his young athletic team, and we saw a lot of that athleticism last night. Great defense. 1-1 is outside and low, 2-1.
We saw outstanding defense. You talked about how strong they are up the middle, Charlie, but they even had some great defense on the corners last night.
Duffy on 2-1. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, that's what you're going to get from Duffy. You got to get ready for that fastball. Even when you're behind, he's not afraid to come at you up in the zone with that fastball. You know, like I said, you can watch him. He'll hover around 92, 93 miles an hour, but then when he gets ahead of you, when you got 2 strikes on you, he can pump that fastball up to 96.
Justin Turner batting leadoff tonight for the first time this season. Gordon the night off against the lefty, the 2-2. Puig, Gordon, Crawford, and Figgins have been the Dodgers' leadoff hitters. And as you see in the last 10, battling through some aches and pains. 476. Center fielder Lorenzo Cain shaded way over toward right center and shallow. So Turner works the count full.
It went from 97 and reversed that number down to 79. So there is a huge speed differential between the off-speed stuff and the fastball where it can top out.
And so Turner has worked the count full. And he's working it more.
Seems like the more Justin plays, the higher the leg kick gets. Really got that knee up there now, feeling good at the plate.
Well, that means that your timing is right where you need it to be. When you have confidence that you can have that leg kick that high, the timing's where it needs to be, and you're also feeling pretty comfortable.
Well, it's going to be a 9-pitch at bat.
Key on that leg kick, right, Nomar, is that when he's up and that high, he's in balance and control of his body. He's not just falling and hoping to collide with the ball.
What I've really been impressed is even when it actually gets down, his body isn't forward when it comes down. So he's still in a good balanced position, even for an off-speed pitch.
Here comes pitch number 9. And there will be a 10th. Justin Turner, go back the last 6 weeks. He's hitting .374. Pretty good sample size. 34 hits in 91 at-bats. 3 home runs, 4 doubles. And he's knocked in 15. He's making a nuisance of himself against Danny Duffy.
I used to change my rhythm on the mound and my mechanics when I had a guy with a high leg kick like this. Sometimes I would abbreviate my step back or abbreviate my leg kick, and especially easier to do it as a pitcher to mess with guys with, large timing devices when you're in the stretch, because now you can slide step at a guy, you can take a long, slow leg kick if you want. So I like guys that have a lot of movement as a pitcher.
Well, here comes the 11th pitch. First batter of the game. Into right center field, and Kane can't get it. It's going to roll to the wall, and Turner is on his way to third, and he will make it. What an at-bat for Justin Turner. 11 pitches and a 3-base hit.
A few different things that are different than last night. 11 pitches, only took 6 pitches to get the Dodgers out last night in the first inning, and Justin Turner saying, D. Gordon, who? I can hit a triple too.
And what about the effort out there in center field in Kane? We talked about last night with Gerard Dyson out there playing a tremendous center field, and they said Kane is even better than Dyson. What a great effort out there. But what was worrying me was when he was rounding second, I'm going, if he's dealing with a calf injury, when you see that ball go in the gap, when you take it up to that next gear, that's what makes you scared that maybe he might pull it. But he looked good sliding into third base.
Kane unable to make the catch. Matt Kemp is the batter, and he takes inside in low, 1 ball and no strikes. Last night, Jeremy Guthrie threw 12 pitches in the first 2 innings combined. Well, on the 11th pitch of the first at-bat, Turner is at third base with his first 3-base hit of the year. Puig is on deck. Yost brings the infield in, knowing who's pitching against him tonight. Clayton Kershaw. Runs expected to be at a premium. Kemp fouls it off. Matt Kemp's got an 11-game hitting streak.
Since the transition to left field, and Matt saying he was ready to move over to left field and play on an everyday basis, actually was forced into the lineup a little quickly over there without a lot of balls because of the injuries. He has been pretty hot since he has settled into left field.
During the 11-game hitting streak, he's hitting .395 with 2 home runs and 10 runs batted in. The infield really halfway more than all the way in for Kemp. And it's outside and low.
And as a hitter in this situation, when I know I have the infield in, and I have the runner at third base with less than 2 outs, and when there's a guy on the hill like Duffy who's going to predominantly come at me with fastballs and throw pretty hard, I can almost take just kind of that 2-strike approach where I can shorten up, make contact, get something up in the zone because I can just get it in the air, let his velocity make the ball carry out in the outfield.
Backhanded by Escobar. 1 out.
That's why the Royals defense was only halfway in, because with no outs and a man on third, you don't send the runner on contact. So you bring the infield halfway in, which eliminates the run when the ball's hit up the middle like this ball was, but still gives you enough range as a defender to catch a ball like this a few steps to your right.
Didn't take long for Dave Island, the pitching coach, to come out and have a consultation not only with his young pitcher Duffy, but the entire infield has joined the conversation. In fact, that's Ned Yost who's come out.
With Adrian Gonzalez behind in the on-deck circle, if they feel like they need to pitch around somebody because Clayton Kershaw's on the mound and you're 079 versus left-handers, they're asking him, do you really want to face Puig here, or you just want to go after Gonzalez first and third?
Yeah, and then you talk to your infield to say, okay, if we go to Gonzalez, do we play a double play? If that is the case, you got to let them know what you're thinking. Say if he happens to walk or we happen to put him on base, I want to know if as a middle infielder, do you want me to play double play depth?
Now the infield is playing back a little bit, still not all the way back, and a little further than they were with Kemp. So here's Puig, who has done well in interleague play in his first big league season. And while it says statistically he is 0 for his last 11, he hit the ball on the screws twice last night.
The strategy right here is that Puig at 317 versus lefties. Duffy's 079 versus left-handers, so that's a huge difference. And then you bring the infield halfway in. Puig right now, standing at the plate, probably got about a 500 on-base percentage if he was swinging.
2 balls and no strikes.
And I'd watch Perez back there. I mean, he's probably going, okay, if I'm going in, it's a breaking ball, but he's really away with a fastball as well where he's set up because he doesn't want anything over the plate. He just wants to see if Yasiel will try to get himself out swinging after a bad pitch.
Puig, 11 home runs, 44 runs batted in. Over the head of Lorenzo Bundy.
We talked so much over the last month and a half about Yasiel Puig's maturity and how his game has changed. He understands now in this situation where last year he didn't understand that they were going to pitch around him and he would be up there just getting RBIs with ability. But now he understands there's an approach the pitchers are taking and he's got to have one to counter it.
Puig the DH tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Adrian Gonzalez on deck.
2 pitches to strike out Yasiel now for Duffy, and for him, neither one of them needs to be a strike. Yasiel's got to look for a mistake. There's no way Duffy is grinding on, oh, I want to throw this for a strike right here. He wants to throw something that looks like a strike and ends up a ball.
Yeah, that pitch before that one he swung at, Yasiel was surprised he threw one in the strike zone.
Here's a 2-2. High chopper. Puig will beat it. It was so shallow in the infield, Turner had nowhere to go. So the runners are at first and third with 1 out, and Gonzalez coming up.
Yeah, unless you're saying, okay, we're going to go on contact. This is a tough read for Justin Turner because, as you said, Charlie, the infield in, you can't read it. And now he's just seeing if the play, if he's going to be overthrown at first base, and Yasiel hustling down the line at first.
Right here, as a runner, you think, why doesn't he go? Because the fielder's eyes are not looking at him. Well, Escobar was staring right at Turner, and he would have yelled 4-4-4 if all of a sudden Turner was going.
Ned Yost is requesting a replay, and this is what they are seeing in New York. Hunter Wendelstedt is the crew chief. Brian Knight, the first base umpire. And basically they get on the headphones and they listen to the folks in New York who are looking at any number of different angles.
I'm curious to see if how many umpires, not that they would ever tell you, but as they show it here at the stadium, as we get to watch it, if they say, okay, if they look at and they have their judgment, say whether out or safe, and then they get a different answer in their headset and going, okay, that's not what I'm kind of watching up here in replay at the stadium.
That angle makes him look out, but you can't tell when the ball actually touches the leather. I think he is safe. I think they'll stay with the call on the field because I don't see conclusive evidence that he's not safe there. He looks safe on that angle.
Most of the replays have taken about 90 seconds or thereabouts for a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and we seem to be right in that neighborhood now. And all Wendelstedt at night can do is stand there and listen.
And this is a big play right here because it changes your approach as a hitter for Adrian Gonzalez.
And let's not forget the inning began with Justin Turner's 11-pitch at-bat, turned it into a triple. But Kempwood bounced to short. Turner couldn't go anywhere. So now it's either a runner at third and 2 out or first and third and 1 out. And the answer is safe. So Puig with an infield hit. He waffled 2 line drives last night and had nothing to show for his efforts. And he gets a little infield squibbler for a base hit to end his 0 for 11 slump.
They never even out.
They all even out.
Yeah, would you say 2, 3 he lined out yesterday? 1 little infield hit, and he's saying they even out? Got some poor math there.
Well, 1 for 3 is 333.
Yeah, they don't even out.
Adrian Gonzalez, boy, he's been struggling. It took 2 minutes and 1 second. And already Duffy is at 20 pitches, 11 of them to the leadoff hitter Turner, who's leading off third. And here's Gonzalez with Puig leading off first. 1 ball, no strikes.
The only lefty in the lineup for us today so far, Adrian Gonzalez, who has struggled off of left-handers in general at 181.
Now you have that infield back playing in that double play depth.
And of course Gonzalez not with great foot speed. So this is a very important batter early in the game. 2 balls and no strikes. Gonzalez struggling against lefties, 4 for 15 on the road trip. Gonzalez with a 9th inning home run last night. Puig at first has stolen 7. He's been caught 7 times. First and third, 1 gone. Two balls and a strike.
You know how we talked about before, where when you're struggling at the plate, when you're in the slump, it's not the ones that you're missing, it's the ones you foul off. And right there you can see Adrian Gonzalez kind of stepping out and talking to himself, because that was a ball he can usually put in play, and the one he can drive to the outfield to possibly get a sac fly.
1 gone in the first. Off the glove of Duffy. Out at second, safe at first. Turner comes in to score. So Gonzalez hit it on the button. It deflected off the glove of Duffy. Escobar, an outstanding defender. So Gonzalez with the RBI, his 47th of the year, and the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead.
Well, I'll tell you, going off the glove, I think helped out Gonzalez there, and good hustle by Yasiel Puig. We still got to talk about Yasiel sliding. If he slides straight to the bag, almost with that pop-up type slide, he's safe here. I think because he doesn't get there, you know, the way he slides with his body and his leg wasn't there, with that leg not straight out, that's why he doesn't get the call here. Watch, he still hasn't touched the bag.
It's like in swimming. You want that clean dive going
straight at it. And we've talked about Yasiel in the past. I mean, the way he slides, they need to address it.
Van Slyke fouls it off.
And not from just a situation like that where he could have possibly been called safe on that play right there, but also from an injury factor.
Right. He's landing hard on that hip, and he has had hip issues.
Yes.
Who do you think leads the Dodgers in on-base percentage? Van Slyke. He's been on base 43% of the time. Along with 25 hits, he's got 22 walks, 278 average. Van Slyke starting in center field tonight.
As we approach the trade deadline, Ed Colletti will probably get a lot of phone calls for Scott Van Slyke with all the assistant GMs that are sabermetricians. They will be looking at those numbers and going, what is this guy doing with partial playing time?
Well, it's been in all the papers. Here's the 1-2. Inside and low. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Scott Van Slyke. 6 home runs, 11 runs batted in. A.J. Ellis is on deck. Ethier sitting it out with the lefty Duffy on the hill tonight. Van Slyke, a 5-game hitting streak. Breaks his bat. Thankfully, it avoids Duffy. Ball into the glove of Hosmer, and that ends the inning. But Justin Turner, an 11-pitch at-bat, results in a triple. He scores the Dodgers' first run for Clayton Kershaw. Coming up, 10 out. year scores the Dodgers' first run. And here is the lineup that the Royals have put together under their fifth-year manager, Ed Yost. Lorenzo Cain leading it off in center field, Hosmer at first base, and Billy Butler, the DH. Gordon in left, Perez, a big night last night, a home run and a double. Infante at second, Danny Valencia getting the start at third base, but Mike Moustakas having all sorts of trouble. Justin Maxwell is in right, Alcides Escobar batting ninth at shortstop, and tonight's Honda starting pitcher. Who else?
The Clayton Kershaw, coming off 107 outstanding pitches against Colorado. Perfect for himself, but it came down and it was a no-hitter. And responding to that outing tonight, he will try and stay in his lanes and keep his levels. And what I mean by that, either the outside lane or the inside lane, and whether it's low or high, that's the way he pitches.
The National League Player of the Week, like there was any competition. Eric Hosmer to follow Cain, who takes high and outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Lorenzo Cain at .314, couple of home runs and 31 runs batted in. 11 doubles and a triple. One ball and 1 strike. So Nomar, you're facing Clayton Kershaw. The Royals are facing Clayton Kershaw. He too has been in all the papers. How do you go about, what kind of a game plan do you have against him?
It's funny, I was talking to the Royals hitting coach Dale Swain about that, and he said you don't want to get behind on a guy like this. I mean, you look at his last outing, and I know it was a no-hitter, but with the 15 strikeouts, he has put away stuff. So you're going to attack him, look for a pitch in the zone. Doesn't mean you just go up there and just flail out everything that he's throwing up there. Early on, you look for a pitch that you can handle, but you have to be ready when you step into the box. Because if you talk to Clayton Kershaw, you talk to any great pitchers, they often say, what are you trying to do? Well, I'm trying to get ahead in the count. And with a guy as good as Clayton Kershaw on the hill, when he's ahead, for the most part, he's going to put you away.
On 1 and 2, just outside and high. Clayton Kershaw in his last 4 starts in the month of June, 29 innings, 4 earned runs, 15 hits, 30 strikeouts, and 1 walk. And that's the first strikeout of the game.
They struck him out twice. The pitch before that was on the corner in the upper left quadrant. But he came back with a slider that looked just like the pitch that would have been there. But then this one breaks down and in on Cain and gets him out again.
31 strikeouts and 1 walk this month. Hosmer takes high, 1 ball, no strikes. Of course, only one man has pitched consecutive no-hitters. That was Johnny Vandermeer. Hosmer fouls it back. And ironically, it is on this day 59 years ago that Sandy Koufax made his major league debut with the Dodgers against the Braves at County Stadium in Milwaukee. A 1-1. Well, there goes the no-hitter. Didn't take long. Hosmer with a clean single past the diving Justin Turner.
Was not a mistake. It's Clayton wanted to go up the ladder and beat him and got him to swing at it to chase, but Hosmer does a great job getting his hands on top of that ball. The ball's up around neck high, and you've got to get your hands above the ball because the barrel's going to be below your hands. Did an amazing job getting his hands up that high.
That was quite impressive by Hosmer.
Pitch up and away, and he singled it away. Billy Butler is the hitter, the DH. 5, 4, 3. Well, I'll take 2 outs for your 1 hit, says Clayton Kershaw. No hitter is gone. The Dodgers lead 1-0 as we go to the second. A.J. Ellis, his battery mate, will lead it off. done, but he only needed 9 pitches to take care of the Royals in the first. Join us for the next episode of Backstage Dodgers as the LA Kings bring the Stanley Cup to Dodger Stadium. And we take an unforgettable look back at Kershaw's no-hitter. Don't miss this exciting new episode of Backstage Dodgers Thursday at 5 o'clock right here on Sportsnet LA. A.J. Ellis, of course, caught Kershaw's near-perfect game, hitting 197 with 2 runs batted in.
Dodgers in the game against Colorado where Kershaw threw the no-hitter, jumped out on top in that game also. 2-0 lead in the bottom of the first they gave him. Spotted him a run here in Kansas City.
Ellis takes a strike, and it's 0-1. By the time the third inning was over, so was the game. The Dodgers had a 7-0 lead. They'd go on to win 8-0. Ellis, Romack, and Trienfeld bat for the Dodgers here in the second inning. Danny Duffy delivers and is fouled off to the right and out of play. Beauty, as they say, is in the eyes of the beholder. 284 no-hitters since the first one thrown in 1875. And they were talking about Kershaw and his performance, 15 strikeouts, no walks, as maybe the best game ever pitched. Statistically, they've got a pretty good case, as Ellis singles into center field to begin the second. What do you think, Oral?
I tell you, some of the evaluation systems that they use, how they can go back in history and grade game against game now, I don't know the exact formulas, but it seems like they're probably getting close. And the only game that I saw that was rated higher was a non-no-hitter. It was Kerry Wood's 20 strikeout game. And that was rated on a scale that reached 105, Kerry's number was, and Kershaw's number was 102. Higher being better.
Derek Bell still hasn't seen that slider that finished off that game that Kerry Wood threw. Romack flies to left.
So you don't know how they're calculating those numbers?
I think it has to do with first pitch strikes. It has to do with whip. It has to do with how many hard hit balls you gave up.
Well, how about
ground balls, fly balls?
From what you've seen in your life, seen a game,
I don't know if I've seen a better game pitched in person or even on TV.
For me, one comes to mind for me is when Pedro Martinez struck out 17 in New York. That was an impressive. When you got a Boston Red Sox getting a standing ovation at Yankee Stadium,
that gets extra points.
Yeah. And that's also doing it against a team in the American League with the DH. He gave up 1 hit, and it was a home run versus the DH and Chili Davis. And that was it.
So Dennis Martinez throw the perfecto against the Dodgers in Dodger Stadium. Saw Tom Browning throw the no-hitter against the Dodgers in Cincinnati. Fernando threw a no-hitter. As far as dominance,
that's what I'm thinking. That's the only one I've seen other than Clayton's that it was just sheer dominance.
Carlos Trienfeld is the hitter, and he's 2 for 4, and starting at shortstop tonight. Hanley Ramirez, the right shoulder, is barking at him again, and so he is sitting it out. Now, how did they come up with the point system for the no-hitter? Bill James came up with the metric. It begins with 50 points. Everybody gets 50 points on the house.
It's like the SAT.
That's what I was wondering. Write your name down.
Get your name down, you get 50 points.
Exactly. You get 1 point for each out recorded. So 3 outs or 3 points for every inning pitched.
You got a chance for 27 points there.
Add 2 points for each inning completed after the 4th. So there's a little more stress and strain as Trienfeld has been struck out. You add 1 point for each strikeout, subtract 2 points for each hit allowed, 4 points for each unearned run or each earned run allowed, subtract 2 points for an unearned run, and subtract 1 point for each walk. So that's how you come up with this 103 points, 105 points.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And it starts with 50, and all of us in this booth right now have 50 points.
No, we didn't. Our name wasn't written in the lineup with a P next to it as pitcher. But I understand what you're saying.
There you go. Everybody starts with 50.
Right. And you know what? The guy in the camera shot right now could care less because he is a competitor looking to go get a W. And it's fun for fodder and comparisons, but for Clayton Kershaw, he wants to go compete.
Miguel Rojas is the batter. 1 ball, 1 strike. So as you were reading stories this week about Kershaw and his dominating pitching performance, it was all based on outs, strikeouts, walks, hits, and then they came up with this number. Either way, it was one of the greatest games ever pitched.
Sounds like on your criteria he did not have a negative in a column.
Well, no walks.
No walks and no hits, and no unearned runs, and no runs.
Well, the difference between his and Kerry Wood's, Kerry Wood had 20 strikeouts.
Right. And Kerry probably had some walks.
Rojas bounces out. That ends the inning. No runs and 1 hit will go to the bottom of the second. Kershaw and the Dodgers 1-0. Time All-Star and 3-time National League ERA champion. And on June 18th, of course, he threw the first no-hitter, his first. Kershaw's next scheduled home start this Sunday. And to celebrate the 22nd no-hitter in franchise history, the Dodgers will be offering a limited amount of $22 tickets to this game to honor number 22. Purchase your tickets today at Dodgers.com/no-hitter. Well, dreams of Johnny Vandermeer's record being tied. That's one record that will probably never be broken. And if it is, I can't wait to see the guy who breaks the other guy's record. 2 in a row for Vandermeer. That was in 1938. His catcher, Ernie Lombardi, would eventually end up in the Hall of Fame. And Vandermeer's second no-hitter took place at Ebbets Field against the Dodgers. Alex Gordon is the batter, and he takes high and away, 1 ball, no strikes. It was also, coincidentally, the first night game ever played at Ebbets Field. It was a big promotional night, more than, gee, Johnny Vandermeer's in town. So it was the big first night game at Ebbets Field. In attendance that night was Babe Ruth and Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens, 2 years removed from winning the gold medal. And frankly, Jesse Owens couldn't find work. So he was there, and one of the reasons he was there, the Dodgers wanted to have him race against some of their players. Again, this whole bring the crowd out for this first ever night game at Ebbets Field. By that time, Babe Ruth was essentially done. And for a year, he was actually a coach for the Dodgers. So you had 2 iconic athletes of the first half of the 20th century in attendance that night. Jesse Owens and Babe Ruth watching Johnny Vandermeer. 3-1 to Alex Gordon. Now it's 3 balls and 2 strikes.
So Babe Ruth didn't race Jesse Owens?
That's a mismatch.
And Jesse didn't do too well in the home run derby either.
Yeah.
Gordon with Perez on deck and Infante to follow. Kershaw has struck out 2.
And the patented slider that we saw so much of in the outing against Colorado. 15 strikeouts, 8 from the slider in the last outing, 6 from the curveball, 1 from the fastball. That looks like the last out of the game against the Rockies. That was the 15th one as Ellen looked on from her seat of honor at Dodger Stadium. Clayton's wife.
Nobody wanted to get near her or her husband in the last inning or 2 until the very end. Well, here's Salvador Perez. Quite a night last night. Hit his 9th home run, has 27 runs batted in, 2 for 4. And he grounds slowly to short. Trienfeld. 2 gone.
But the theory on the Kansas City side is to not let Clayton get ahead. And if Clayton's theory is to get ahead, a quality first and second pitch by Clayton near the edges, he's going to get some easy routine outs. Right there, Perez swinging at a high fastball. It was middle, but it was up too high. But you can go through a lineup like a hot knife through butter. They're hacking early, and you know it, and you can make a quality pitch.
Infante is the hitter with 2 out and nobody on. 18 pitches, 10 for strikes. And the 1-0. Into right center field. Romack out and now in. Makes the catch, and that ends the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. Top of the order for the Dodgers as we head to the top of the 3rd.
One to nothing lead as we make our way to the top of the 3rd inning. Yasiel Puig due up 3rd in this very inning. And Yasiel Puig in his short career in the major leagues has enjoyed interleague play, specifically at AL ballparks. Now this is including tonight. Here's his career in AL parks. 10 games, 7 multi-hit games, a batting average now of .463 with that single in his first at-bat, 2 home runs, and 7 RBIs. Those are your Coors Light cold, hard facts. In fact, his average highest among active players, guys.
And Justin Turner will lead it off for the Dodgers in the 3rd. Thank you, Alana. Yasiel Puig will follow Kemp, who's on deck. Turner, an 11-pitch at-bat, would triple. And he has just made life miserable for Duffy. He immediately fouls off the first pitch. It's 0-1. The Dodgers had hoped that Uribe would be with the club yesterday. He's still at Rancho, and now they're keeping their fingers crossed for Thursday in St. Louis. Uribe's got a hamstring issue. Hanley Ramirez, his right shoulder bothering him tonight, so he is not starting. Turner on 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kemp on deck and Puig to follow. And a ball gets loose out in center field. It's going to be retrieved by Lorenzo Cain. Dodgers and Royals wrap it up tomorrow. Dan Herron and big game James Shields. First pitch about 10 after 5 Pacific time. A 1-2. Turner takes just inside, and it's 2-2. Aaron in search of his 8th win of the year. And so is Kershaw tonight. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Justin Turner. We've already seen 16 pitches from Duffy. Kemp, who bounced out in his first at-bat, an 11-game hitting streak on deck. .79 degrees at game time. Good sized crowd in attendance. And the 3-2. Turner.
Turner battling, fouling off some tough pitches is what he did in that first inning. The ball down in zone. He finally gets one down in the zone after fouling some off, kind of middle up. There he goes again, fouling off more pitches. Waiting for that one again to drive out there in the outfield.
He has seen 18 pitches so far, and he's not through with his second at-bat. 18 of the 47 thrown by Duffy have been from the red-headed kid. That's impressive stuff, Nomar.
Great at bat, fouling off some tough pitches, even fouling off some breaking balls there. As I said, Duffy likes to come with that fastball when he's got 2 strikes on you, and laying off a tough pitch over there on the corner.
First time that Turner has led off this year. Gotten on base twice and seen 19 pitches along the way. Now Matt Kemp fouls it off, and it's 0-1.
And I don't look to see Turner stealing here, because you got a lefty up there on the hill, David Duffy. I mean, the big difference in speed-wise between Turner and D. Gordon as well. But at the same time, over the course of his career, Duffy has 12 pickoffs over there at first base.
And you're also talking about an ankle and a hip that's not quite right.
The calf over there that he's dealing with. But I'll tell you, look good on that triple. We talked about that. To him, get it up in that next gear to take third base.
And you got the middle of the order coming up. Kemp, Puig, and Gonzalez. No balls and a strike.
And I'm curious to see if maybe that was maybe a factor when in. I don't think it was a major factor, but a little factor in starting Turner over D. Gordon. I think it was the lefty on lefty was the biggest issue why Mattingly didn't start him. But I think at the same time going, well, there is something else as well, because he's very good at controlling the running game.
Here's the 1-1. Escobar, Infante, the Hosmer. So Kemp bounces to short twice, this time a double play, 2 out and nobody on.
It's a nice double play, because this ball is not hit very hard at all, Nomar.
No, it wasn't. I mean, Duffy's been jamming a few of these hitters here, but watch Infante at second base going across the bag and throwing it.
You know, it's interesting. Yesterday, in yesterday's game, Oral, you were saying Omar Infante could have done that with A.J. Ellis at bat, but he didn't. He decided to take the ball at the bag, not realizing who was running, that he had enough time to come across that way to turn a double play.
So now 2 out and nobody on, and here's Puig. Puig with an infield hit in his first at-bat. Sometimes baseball ain't fair. Last night, 2 hard line drives off the bat of Puig. Entered the game 0 for 11 and squibs a base hit to third in his first at-bat. And he pops it up into short right. Justin Maxwell. That's that for the Dodgers in the third. Bottom third of the Royals order coming up in the bottom of the third. Valencia, Maxwell, and Escobar against Clayton Kershaw. Kansas City. Good crowd on hand. Blue is the operative color. Danny Valencia, Justin Maxwell, and Alcides Escobar to face Kershaw, who is, well, he hasn't been perfect, but he has retired 6 batters. He has thrown 19 pitches, 11 for strikes, 2 strikeouts, and no walks. Hosmer, a 1-out single, promptly erased on the double play ball off the bat of Billy Butler. We're talking about Kershaw before the game and when he first came up, and you were a teammate of his. Basically, he was a 2-pitch pitcher when he began.
I mean, very similar to Danny Duffy in the fact that he was a 2-pitch pitcher. He was just predominantly fastball, coming at you with a fastball, and then the curveball. And as a hitter, if that's all you could look for. His changeup, he didn't have confidence in, didn't throw it very much at all. If he did, it was more just for show, just to try to keep batters honest. And if he didn't have his curveball working, you could just look fastball all day long on him. But now, as he's developed and matured, he's got that cutter, he's got a slider.
Valencia takes outside, 2-0.
You go back a generation, the Dodger franchise did not teach the slider. You came to the organization with a slider, they would warn you about the pitch, but they wouldn't teach it. And they also didn't teach the split finger fastball. In our day, Fernando was a fastball, curveball, screwball, and Bobby Welch was fastball, curveball. I was sinker, curveball. Jerry Royce threw a cutter. Bert Hooton threw the knuckle curve. But it wasn't the slider didn't start getting taught in the Dodge organization until probably 15 years ago, maybe 17 years ago or so.
And is it really because of the strain that the slider has a tendency to put on your arm, or what is it?
Well, it's more myth and legend that it was a more strainful pitch, and that they didn't want guys kind of coming underneath the ball. Because when you throw a bad slider, guys will tell you it's one of the worst feeling pitches on your elbow.
Right to second base. Rojas, 1 out. So Kershaw fell behind 3-0. And that's the first out of the third.
You throw the ball properly, your fastball, your curveball, your slider, your split finger, and you feel like the ball is in your hand and the weight is there and it's released at the proper time. It doesn't feel like there's much strain at all. But when you throw a bad one, it's probably like when you guys hit the ball off the end of the bat or get jammed.
You feel it.
Oh, you feel the vibration through and the stress. And a lot of times it's the shoulder and the elbow.
Big Justin Maxwell takes a fastball at 94 on the outside corner, 0-1. Giants and Padres later. Dodgers begin 4 games behind San Francisco. Maxwell fouls it back, and it's 0-2. Maxwell's 6'5" and 2 1/4. Dodgers first saw him in Washington. He has since played with Houston and now with the Royals. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You know, Charlie, we get frustrated. The team gets frustrated. Don Mattingly, Ned Colletti get frustrated about not putting a string of wins together.
Look at Kershaw's athleticism. Wow.
Outstanding. Not only a great pitcher, but a great athlete with great reactions off the bat right there. And then the presence of mind to understand as his baseball clock is ticking that he has plenty of time when he gets to this ball. He breaks over there, sets his body up for the turn, but right there, knowing he's got time, doesn't do anything extra. Just does it quickly enough to get him out. And, of course, you know the arm is strong.
I think he threw that about 95 miles an hour over there to first base.
But I was saying about the winning and the winning streaks, you know, as frustrated as it gets with the Dodgers and the fan base gets that way, that they haven't run off a whole bunch of victories.
Alcides Escobar grounds to short. Frienfeld will throw him out. Another easy inning for Clayton Kershaw. Nothing across for the Royals. Adrian Gonzalez will lead off the 4th. Start something special with a great deal on a Honda. Now at your Honda dealer. And by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box for the new Jalapeno Ranch or Barbecue Ultimate Cheeseburger at participating restaurants. Kershaw and the Dodgers with a 1-0 lead. The no-hitter suspense was quickly broken in the bottom of the first. A 1-out single to left for Eric Hosmer, who was then promptly doubled up. And so Kershaw, through 3 innings, has pitched to the minimum number of hitters, 9, and he has struck out 2 of them. Gonzalez, with a fielder's choice and an RBI in his first at-bat, takes a strike. It's 0-1. Dodgers 1 run and 3 base hits. There's a strike on the outside corner. And it's 0-2.
Adrian with multiple stances, going with the narrower feet and the very tall approach in his look against Duffy. Not in a spread out 2-strike approach, feeling comfortable about seeing the release point. A pretty big swing. Against certain lefties, we'll see him spread out and really shorten up. And here early in the count against Duffy, he is using the full Gonzalez.
Against lefties, Gonzalez has struggled this year, hitting just $1.81. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Already foul tip.
I'm still thinking about the full Gonzalez.
It's like the full Monty, the full.
I understand what you're saying. I don't know if that's even scarier.
That is.
Gonzalez with a base hit into left field. The inside out. Adrian with his first hit of the night.
Well, needless to say, the full Gonzalez worked on that one, staying inside. Well, like you said, standing up tall. This ball was up in the zone, the off speed, and he stays back with it. He gets rewarded over there with a nice base hit to left field.
Dodgers with the leadoff hitter aboard. In fact, each of the first 4 innings, the leadoff hitter's gotten aboard. As Van Slyke takes outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Justin Turner began the game, an 11-pitch at-bat, a triple. He'd eventually come around to score. A.J. Ellis led off the 2nd inning with a single to center. And he would be stranded. Turner led off the 3rd inning with a walk. And now Gonzalez with the leadoff hit.
That Turner at bat really set the tone for the night. It seemed like last night the offense and the team seemed flat for about the first 3 to 5 innings. Seemed like that at bat from Justin Turner. The way he grounded out and then was successful as far as ground out the at bat.
Van Slyke swing and a miss, hit and run. And Gonzalez is done.
Well, you know this is a hit and run with Adrian Gonzalez over there. Van Slyke just unable to make contact with the ball, and you got a strong arm behind home plate in Salvador Perez. Nice tag over there by Infante, whose ball was a little up, but he catches it and makes a quick tag on Gonzalez.
For about a week, Adrian Gonzalez led Major League Baseball in stolen bases. He stole 1 in Australia. That was probably the only time in his life he led any league in stolen bases. But he did it on the other half of the world. Get bonus points there. Bill James get to rate that?
Does that count? Is that extra points subtracted? Is that like 1.5?
Across the international date line, for goodness sake. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out in the 4th. As Van Slyke takes inside 3-2.
I'd be very interested if that was really a hit and run, or was Adrian going on first move, knowing a left-hander on the mound. He thought he could get a good enough jump to steal the bag on the pitcher.
Well, he and Mattingly are having a conference as if to suggest that something might have been amiss.
A lot of times when a sign is missed, you won't see the conversation right away between the manager and the player, because they don't want to show each other up, and they talk about it down in the tunnel later. So either the relationship is really, really solid and they just say, let's talk about it, we don't care if we're on TV or not, or Adrian was saying, you know, I apologize, I thought I could swipe it, and he was talking about it with the skipper.
3-2 to Van Slyke, with 1 out in the 4th and already the 66th pitch.
Oh wow.
Van Slyke all happy with the call from Hunter Wendelstedt. Thought it was under his knees.
And I think we thought the same thing up here when you see that pitch. I mean, that pitch was down. I mean, you got with Scott Van Slyke, he stands pretty tall here, so his zone's a little bit higher here. And look where that pitch is. I mean, that pitch is way down, way out of the zone, and Scott Van Slyke has every right to be upset here. I thought he handled it well. You know, he stood there, stayed, and just kind of walked back to the dugout in disbelief.
Hunter Wendelstedt in his 16th big league season. Lives down in New Orleans now. Of course, he comes from blue blood. Harry Wendelstedt, longtime umpire, and had an umpiring school.
Very good umpire and a very nice man.
Two balls and no strikes to A.J. Ellis, who singled to center in his first at-bat. Ellis, like Van Slyke, both see a lot of pitches.
When Harry Wendelstedt made a bad call, he's such a nice guy that nobody really yelled at him. They would just go, "Oh, Harry."
You think Van Slyke was saying, "Oh, Hunter"?
Exactly.
Not in so many words.
Not the same way? Okay.
Not in so many words.
The one thing about Hunter Wendelstedt, though, when he makes a bad call, he'll let you know, and that's what you appreciate.
Yeah,
actually, he'll fess up. He's like, "Yeah, you know what? I missed that one. That was down."
That's why his dad was. That's why he was such a nice guy. That he didn't have an ego about his calls. He knew that he was going to blow some and be wrong, but he'd fess up to it,
Yeah.
and it just it unarms the whole situation.
Yeah, it really diffuses it all. And you're going, okay.
3-1 with 2 out in the 4th. And Ellis takes a walk.
And let me tell you why that's also important, especially as a hitter. So if there's a pitch that I thought might have been borderline, or if it was a ball, let's say that wasn't the third strike. Let's say it's in the middle of the at-bat, or it's a first pitch or second pitch called on me. And I ask you, say, "Hey, Hunter, was that pitch down?" And if he says, "Yes, that was down, I missed it." Okay, now I don't have to look for that pitch anymore. He knows it was down. Now I can go over there. He just missed it. Okay, I can accept that. And like you said, not only to diffuse it, but it puts me in the right mindset to go look for the strike zone that I know that he's been calling all day long.
Now with 2 out, Jamie Romack is the batter. And Romack takes inside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. And then there's Doug Harvey. Doug Harvey, who wrote an autobiography. And only Doug Harvey could come up with the title, "They Called Me God, the Best Umpire Who Ever Lived." It's the polar opposite of Harry Wendelstedt.
Doug had an ego, but you know what? He really ran a great game, and he was
God.
He was God. I mean, he'd call pitches against hitters or for pitchers, and he would say, "Hall of Fame pitch, son. Hall of Fame pitch, right there."
Romack, 1 ball, no strikes, 2 out.
Hall of Fame pitch.
That's what he would say to the hitters.
Huh?
Yeah, when they look back at him they'd say, "Oh, that ball's outside." He'd go, "Nope, Hall of Fame pitch, right there."
Right? Yeah. Well, it's not a Hall of Fame pitcher on the mound. Let's go. Come on. What do you mean?
As determined by God, for goodness sake.
Right.
1 ball, 1 strike, and 2 out. Romack flied to left in his first at-bat. 1-2. Meanwhile, Duffy is already now at 74 pitches, and we're not through the 4th inning yet.
Quite the contrast from last night's pitcher for the Royals and Jeremy Guthrie, who I think at this point only had like 30 pitches.
Exactly.
He had thrown through 4 innings last night, 28.
Oh, there you go.
Well, the 75th of the inning is a punch-out. Romack is down. 3rd strikeout of the game for Duffy. We go to the bottom of the 4th. than Don Newcomb, of course, the first player in Major League history to win the Rookie of the Year, the Cy Young Award, and the MVP. Well, head to Dodger Stadium Tuesday, July the 1st, a week from tonight. And you can take home a replica Brooklyn Newcomb jersey, compliments of Time Warner Cable. Tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Well, for Clayton Kershaw, he'll be facing the top half, in the bottom half of the fourth inning, the top third of the Royals lineup. Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer, and Billy Butler. No for Kershaw tonight. Of course, he came so close to that perfect game in his last outing. He had a perfect game in high school. 5 innings, struck out 15. 5 innings.
Rain shortened in Texas?
That was a playoff game of some sort. What was fascinating about it, he also hit a home run. 15 up, 15 down.
Was there a 10-run rule or something?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That's what, yeah.
I'm over here if you need me.
Don't forget to tip the waiters. Lorenzo Cain. Outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Struck out swinging in his first at-bat.
Earl, is that a good day? 5 innings, 15 strikeouts.
And a home run.
Even on the Bill James scale, that would be pretty high up there. You'd only have 1 inning after the 4th where he'd get extra credit.
You know, it's trying to put like a piece of art in a great museum. Give Da Vinci these points. Well, the colors weren't so good, so you take one away from him. Kershaw struck out 15, walked nobody. A throwing error by Ramirez, the only thing from perfection. And to try to categorize that and compare that to any other no-hitter perfect game, it was a spectacular performance. Can't we just leave it at that?
Exactly. No, and all no-hitters are spectacular. Perfect games are spectacular.
Well, some no-hitters aren't so good. You got 10 walks or whatever.
Hey, it's a no-hitter. I'll tell you what, I don't want to be on the team being no-hit. I'll tell you that regardless of the walks.
But that's a no-hitter with an asterisk.
It's still a loss,
right.
And it's a no-hitter.
Right. But it's a difference. Again,
sure.
That's like saying, well, murder is a crime, and so is jaywalking. Two balls and 2 strikes to Lorenzo Cain. Hosmer is on deck, and here's a 2-2. Lined into right field, and it's just foul. Hit it like a drop shot volley. National League Player of the Week. On the year so far, in 67 innings, Kershaw has struck out 88 and walked 8. Three and 2. And opposing hitters coming into the game hitting .212 against him. Strikeout number 3, 94 miles an hour upstairs. Well, here comes Eric Hosmer. Didn't take long to spoil the suspense. Amazing pitch that he hit.
I think that's the bigger thing about that. It wasn't just that we were anticipating, another no-hitter, but the fact that Hosmer got that pitch that high up in the zone and hit it square for a base hit.
Hit it that hard. Clayton who? Hosmer's thinking to himself. He's 2 for 2.
Another fastball. This time he hits it up the middle. Clayton falls off a little bit to the third base side, so he had to do the emergency backhand attempt right there.
Well, I'll tell you, for Hosmer, I mean, he's riding an 0 for 12 streak. He was hitless in his last 3 games, so he's going, listen, I got to snap out of this, and why not? Let's do it against Clayton Kershaw.
Well, he's doing it. And hitting just 197 at home. But 2 for 2 tonight. Butler takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Butler's got a hit in 17 of his last 19 games, during which time he's hitting near 370. One nothing Dodgers with 1 out in the bottom of the 4th. Butler doesn't like it. Still doesn't like it. No balls and 2 strikes. Kershaw 41 pitches into the journey for 107 in his no-hitter. A hot-hitting Billy Butler. As a hitter, in this case Butler, Mario, you go in, you're facing Kershaw, and of course you were a notorious first ball hitter, and we were talking about it earlier. Is there a game plan?
Yeah, like I said, you want to hit a strike. You don't want it, like I said, you want to hit. You want to be ready when you come in there because you don't want to get behind. But early on, you're going in and say, okay, I might have to separate the plate in half. Am I going to look inner half or am I going to look away? That's when, if I get it in that area, I'm going to attack it. And that's really your plan. And because I'm going to force him to decide which side he's going to pitch to.
And now he's got 1 of 3. Oh! Just got back.
And then what you do is you don't want to be in this situation where you find yourself 0-2 and 1-2, and we get to see the move over here by Kershaw where he almost picks off Hosmer over there at first base.
Adam leaning. Ellis does a good job.
Great job blocking that, but I don't know if that got any padding on Ellis. I think that was one of those that was so far in front of the plate. He tried to get in front of it, but might have missed everything. Oh,
got a chest protector on everything that needs padding, and hit the place that doesn't need padding. It's got a little bit of extra there. Just a little. Don't worry, Mike Scioscia was my catcher. He had a little extra.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Strikeout number 4 for Kershaw.
Well, Clayton Kershaw is up to 90 strikeouts this year with only 8 walks. So we talked so much about Sandy Koufax and Zach Greinke yesterday, fastest to 100 with fewer than 20 walks. Sandy, the only one that did it, had 19. Zach did it yesterday, got 100 strikeouts and only 20 walks. Well, Clayton is on pace this year to just shatter that record.
Now with 2 out, Gordon a strikeout victim in his first at-bat. There's a strike, 0-1. Clayton Kershaw in his last 4 starts coming into the game. 29 innings, 4 runs, 15 hits, 30 strikeouts and a walk. And he's on that pace tonight. No runs and 2 hits, 4 strikeouts and no walks. defending Cy Young Award winner. Strike on the outside corner, 1-2. Outside of that game in Arizona where he got cuffed around an inning and 2/3, Kershaw has struck out no less than 7 batters in the game. Two balls and 2 strikes.
We talk about the competitor that Kershaw is and how tough he is on himself. I mean, you can hear the frustration in Kershaw on that pitch right there when he threw it again that far in front of home plate.
Well, statistically, since coming up in 2008, Kershaw is simply the best. A 2.60 ERA, and opponents hitting .211 against him. That is a significant sample size.
Yeah, you are living in a very special time if you're his teammate or a broadcaster here, or even getting to play against him, because if he keeps this up, he could end up being the best ever.
And on this night 59 years ago, Sandy Koufax made his Dodger debut. Pitched 2 innings in Milwaukee. Kicking off A.J. Ellis. And Hosmer gets to second base on a wild pitch.
It's the slider, and it just gets away from A.J. It's not really a terrible pitch. Yes, it's a wild pitch, but it's where Clayton wanted the ball. Just trusted A.J. could handle it, and he couldn't. You're ahead 2-2, and you got a left-handed hitter, and the slider's been dominant. He's trying to keep it down and away. Just got a little too far down, a little too far away.
4 strikeouts for Kershaw. Hasn't walked anybody until now.
That's one of those fastballs away after that slider that Clayton, he went to dot it, to dot the eye, and maybe he'd have gotten away with just kind of crossing the tee, get it on the outer half, because after that slider, Alex Gordon is thinking, I'm going to make him get the ball up, and I'm going to make sure it's not a slider that's away for a ball. Just a routine fastball away. He probably gets him out easy. He just missed.
So 2 on and 2 out. And Salvador Perez takes a strike. It's 0-1. Perez turned 24 last month. 6'3", 250. 292 hitter last year. 286 at the moment. A home run and a double last night. 1-1.
Well, this is a big at-bat right here. I mean, you got a guy in scoring position. Yes, Salvador Perez has really been one of the hottest hitters for this in this Royals lineup. I mean, he's hit safely in 16 of his last 17 games. So he's been swinging the bat extremely well this month.
And hitting better than 400 in interleague play. To third, backhanded by Miller. Perez doesn't run well, so the long throw. He's out easily. No runs, 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 left. We go to the 5th. Kershaw and the Dodgers, 1-0.
Dodgers with a 1-0 lead as we make our way to the top of the 5th inning. Justin Turner with a nice defensive play to end the bottom of the 4th inning, and he really has done a nice job holding down the hot corner in the absence of Juan Uribe, who is expected back within the coming week. And this is what Justin Turner's been able to do in the absence, really in this entire season. A 303 average, 3 long balls, 19 ribbies. This is what's so impressive. On the road, a 338 average. Runners in scoring position, absolutely clutch. 378 average. And in the month of June, including what he's done tonight, a 438 batting average compared to just 300 in May, which is really not too shabby either. Guys, he's really filled in nicely for Juan Uribe, making it difficult for Don Mattingly to overlook him or not continue to give him playing time.
Well, Turner, of course, has had a terrific year. Going back to February and March, he was battling D. Gordon and Sean Figgins, even Miguel Rojas, for the spot at second base. And when called upon to fill in for Juan Uribe, who has missed 6 weeks now, Turner has really done the trick. Carlos Trienfeld takes a ball outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Now, if you would have thought, as the Dodgers were breaking camp and on their way to Australia, that at the tail end of June, their lineup would consist of Justin Turner at third, Carlos Trienfeld at short, Miguel Rojas at second, and Jamie Romack in right. Into short right. And, oh, what a nice play by Eric Hosmer, who has really strutted his stuff with the bat and with the glove in this series.
Well, this is a very difficult ball to get to. You're running. Look at the way his shoulders are turned. It's over the shoulder catch there, and yet he stays with it to come up with the play here. Look at the way the glove is turned. Everything about that was not easy. And that's why he's smiling over there going, yeah, I don't know how I came up with it, but I'm glad it landed in my glove.
Gold Glove winner in 2013, as was Alex Gordon and Salvador Perez. And you've got Lorenzo Cain, an outstanding defender in center field.
Hosmer's got the ability to play the outfield after watching the foot speed there and the glove work, the way he tracked that ball.
And in talking with Ned Yost about him yesterday, Rojas takes a strike. This kid, Hosmer, has a chance somewhere down the road. He has MVP potential.
A lot of guys play first base because it's the only place they can play. He looked like he can play in the outfield, first base, and because he's a left-handed thrower, that's where he gets limited.
A ball and a strike, and Rojas takes low. Hosmer is just 24 out of Miami in his 4th big league season. Already a career 277 hitter, 17 home runs last year.
But when interleague play takes Kansas City to the National League parks, Hosmer will play a little right field when they lose the DH to get another bat in the lineup that can only play first.
This is the second time the Dodgers have seen the Royals. What, 9 years? Rojas with the walk. And that brings up Justin Turner. Milano was talking about Turner and what a job he has done in the absence of Juan Uribe. He's also been very solid defensively.
He has shown real sure hands, a very strong arm, and has had great range, great first step down there at third base. We've seen him make some balls, plays down the line, backhanded balls and to his left because of that first step.
Quite a few diving plays.
In his first at-bat, Turner would eventually triple off Duffy after 11 pitches. His second at-bat, he would walk on the 8th pitch. So Duffy's at 83, and already Turner's seen 20 of them.
And already fouled off another pitch.
You said Duffy had 12 pickoffs. And
over his career.
Yeah, I would say a lot of them probably have come from that step-off quick throw move. He's very confident in that. Has used it twice already tonight. You've got to be ready when you lead off, not for the leg kick move, but for the step-off quick throw. There's conventionally coming over to first base. He used that step-off quick move with kind of the dart throw with a man on third also, first and third. So he's very confident he can get it over there and be accurate.
Duffy turned down a scholarship offer to go to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo to sign with the Royals in 2007. Perez gets nicked, and his brother in arms, home plate umpire Hunter Wendelstadt, walks out a new ball for Duffy to get Perez an opportunity to regain his senses. That's why.
If Duffy, after he gives his catcher a little time, I want to see if he gives actually a better move. We've seen him step off. We also seen him throw that conventional one over, but it really wasn't one to try to pick him off. It's just trying to get him back to first base. But after throwing a slide step pitch, let's see if he tries to get him a better move to see if he can pick him off.
On 0-2, call strike 3. Fourth strikeout of the game for Danny Duffy. Turner down on strikes.
It's the opposite side of the plate that he was aiming, but it hit the corner. He got the call.
Now Matt Kemp, an 11-game hitting streak, but he's bounced to short twice tonight. Second time bounced into a double play. Kemp 7 home runs and 28 runs batted in. Dodgers with a run in the first, the only run of the game. Inside and low, 1 ball and no strikes to Matt Kemp. During his 11-game hitting streak, Kemp is merely batting .395. 2 home runs, 10 runs batted in, and 4 doubles. But has had trouble against lefties this year, hitting but .210. Inside. Kemp's had a good month of June, hitting .383. And with the injury to Carl Crawford, 8th year in Van Slyke, sharing center field these days. The corner outfielders, Kemp and Puig, getting most of the play, and Puig, who's on deck as a DH tonight. 2-0. 2-1.
Duffy's done a good job with the right-handed hitters, kind of coming crossfire into them, and then also being able to crossfire and keep the ball in the outer half of the plate. That ball just barely on the outside corner and in the upper quadrant. But doing a nice job with his fastball of getting to both sides of the plate.
Rojas leads from first. Here's a 2-1.
Hard to lay off that one after that high one is just called.
So Duffy's sitting pretty. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And that's one thing Duffy's not afraid to. He's going up there, he gets a cut. He'll keep climbing the ladder here with his fastball to get you swinging.
Kemp has been struck out 71 times this year. Rojas does not run especially quickly. Has not yet attempted a stolen base in the major leagues. Well, now he's gone as Perez bobbles the ball.
That's an excellent job by Miguel Rojas, because even if, like you said, he doesn't have exceptional speed, hasn't attempted a stolen base. If you're not thinking stolen base, at least look for a ball possibly in the dirt to get that extra base. He got the good secondary lead, followed the trajectory of the ball, recognizing that the ball was going to be in, and then just takes off a great first step and no play at second base.
As a result of that secondary lead, he is credited with his first big league stolen base. And now they've corrected themselves, and it's a wild pitch. Give it and take it away. Now the 3-2, and Kemp's got a runner in scoring position. And that'll bring up Puig with 2 out and 2 on. That's the 4th walk given up by Duffy. Ned Yost. And in doubt, go for the sunflower seed. Puig hitting .341 with runners in scoring position. Takes a strike, 0-1. An infield hit, and he's flied to right. Warm-up activity for the Royals. That's Kelvin Herrera. Much a product of the pitch count as anything else. Duffy at 92 pitches. 56 for strikes. 2 on, 2 out. Grounded to third. Backhanded stop by Valencia. Low throw and dug out by Hosmer. What a performance Eric Hosmer put on in this first game and a half of the 3-game series. Dodgers fail to score. They leave 2. Five pitches, 33 for strikes, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, and Clayton made sure he brought Uncle Charlie with him tonight. Look at Kershaw on Carl's cam. High fastball would get Lorenzo Cain. Cain has gone down on strikes twice tonight. So Kershaw has given up no runs and 2 hits, 4 strikeouts and a walk. Omar Infante takes up and in. 1 ball and no strikes. It'll be Infante, Valencia, and Justin Maxwell. Infante flied to right in his first at bat. There's a strike. 1-1. Infante, veteran presence on a largely young team. The sure-handed Miguel Rojas throws out his counterpart, first out of the 5th. Never been any question about Rojas and his ability to field the ball. And he can play second base, shortstop, or third.
It's a very sure-handed, rangy infield for the Dodgers. Don Mattingly putting the lineup together, really trying to match them position for position defensively, at least in the infield.
Valencia made the terrific play to end the 5th inning. A long throw getting Puig. Eric Hosmer. A 2 short hopper. 2 bounces.
Excellent.
Valencia just off the disabled list, takes a strike, had a bad hand. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And that's what Valencia was trying to do. He was trying to short hop that ball over there. He wasn't trying to get that ball in the air. And it's easy to do when you know you have a great glove over there at first base that can pick it like Hosmer.
Well, between innings, Laurel is making a comparison, and it's hard to argue. Outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes to Danny Valencia.
Hosmer reminds me a little bit of Keith Hernandez. The range he has, the ability to catch the pop fly going back towards right field.
In the hole. Oh, look at the play by Turner. And look at the play by Gonzalez. But the speed of Valencia, the difference between a hit and an out.
And this was just a tremendous play by Justin Turner, ranging to his left. We were just talking about that, spinning around, coming up and getting a little help over there, but Valencia just wheeling it down to first base and using those legs, but can't overlook the tremendous effort both by Turner and Gonzalez at first base.
And Valencia a little out in front of that off-speed pitch, which gave him a little head start coming out of the box. He wasn't jammed, or he wouldn't have been safe. He was leaning into the field of play out in front, so that his momentum was going towards first coming out of the starting blocks.
1 out, 1 on, and Justin Maxwell, who bounced back to the box in his first at bat. Well, when you put Eric Hosmer in the same category as Keith Hernandez, Hernandez won 11 consecutive Gold Gloves.
The only thing I haven't seen Eric do yet that Keith was very aggressive at was on like the first and second bunt plays, the way Keith threw the ball. He was an aggressive first baseman that threw the ball aggressively to third base on those plays, and with infield in, he would make the most amazing plays to cut the runner down coming from third.
Maxwell swings and misses, and it's 0-2.
But that's the reminder right now. We'll let him put the resume together to actually put him in the same category as Keith, but he looks like he's got those kind of tools.
Hernandez, 11 Gold Gloves, the most of any first baseman in baseball history.
Maybe he isn't Keith.
Hernandez, of course, came up with the Cardinals, spent his best days with the Mets, and spent his final season, a half a season at that, in Cleveland. Justin Maxwell on 0-2.
I can see him now in the batter's box with the fingers wiggling like this and kind of staring out at you and kind of doing the Nomar a little bit, kind of looking at me, pointing the bat. Boy, talk about a guy who would grind out an at bat and foul off pitch after pitch after pitch and wait for you to make a mistake. He was a fun one to compete against.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Maxwell takes a ball, 3rd strike. 5th strikeout for Kershaw against 1 walk, 2 out.
91 strikeouts, 9 walks for Clayton Kershaw on the year, and he continues to pound the bottom of the strike zone. The number one thing that I've seen from Clayton Kershaw this year, the adjustment he has made, he is pitching down in the strike zone with his fastball a lot more, and it is keeping his pitch counts down. He's not going for that strikeout going up the ladder where he got some takes and foul balls. He's getting a lot more ground balls and attacking the lower half of the strike zone.
And this just his 68th pitch of the game. Inside, 1 ball and no strikes.
The high amount of strikeouts and the low amount of walks is attributed to the fastball being down and then more people swinging and missing at that low slider than swinging and missing at high fastballs that if they take, they walk. They swing at, they foul off, and the pitch count goes off, or they take and it's a ball. But the one down now, they're taking it for a strike, and then if they swing, he gets the slider going and they gets the strikeout.
So as a pitcher, would you make an adjustment recognizing the way they might be attacking, whether up in the zone or down in the zone, to make the adjustment with your fastball and what you're trying to hit?
I just think he's learning that I can keep my pitch count down and go deeper into games by pitching down in the strike zone than pitching up.
Yeah, because even if they make contact, they usually pound that in the zone of ground ball.
Right. You get a fair ground ball for an out instead of a foul ball back to the screen for a strike, and you got to throw another pitch.
Right.
And now that his best breaking ball is his slider, that comes better off the trajectory of a low fastball than off a high fastball. The high fastball matches up with the curveball.
And I'll tell you, as a hitter, if I'm separating the zone, like I said, in half, and I want to get him up, if you establish, that means I'm eliminating the low strike. And if you're establishing that, you're freezing me and you're forcing me to have to swing on that and then swing at that slider.
Alcides Escobar, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I've always said he's 2 pitchers in one body. He's the fastball, high fastball, curveball pitcher, which a lot of people are successful, and he's the low fastball slider pitcher. There's a lot of people. He's 2 in one body, and that makes him absolutely almost unhittable when he's on, which we saw in his last outing, and he's coming close to tonight.
Which is practically every start of his career. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Escobar bounced to short in his first at-bat. Escobar at 290. A couple of home runs. Has 20 doubles. Very good speed. Valencia with the infield hit is at first base with 2 out in the bottom of the 5th. Dodgers have out hit the Royals 4-3 and outscored them 1-0. Strikeout number 6 for Kershaw. He has struck out 2 in the 5th as he did in the 4th. We'll go to the 6th inning. Gonzalez and Van Slyke and Ellis coming up. to play. The Dodgers 1 run, 4 hits. The Royals no runs and 3 hits. Duffy has thrown 93 pitches so far. Kershaw has thrown 72. Duffy has struck out 4 and he has walked 4. Kershaw has struck out 6 and walked 1. That first inning run for the Dodgers looks huge the way these two guys are having at it.
Yeah, Duffy's fastball has been a little bit more electric than Clayton, but Clayton's had a better pitch mix tonight as far as the fastball and the slider and the curveball. Duffy really going through the Dodger lineup mostly with the fastball above 94 miles an hour.
Gonzalez with a base hit in 2 at-bats. He takes a strike. It's 0-1. Adrian with a single to left in the 4th inning. Has driven in a run tonight as well. On an infield out, the 0-1. Fouled off to the left. That is 0-2. So it'll be Gonzalez and Van Slyke and Ellis. Bat for the Dodgers here in the 6th. Into right center. Renzo Cain taking charge. So Gonzalez retreats to the dugout, 1 for 3. Van Slyke makes his way to the batter's box, 0 for 2. Bounced to first and took a called 3rd strike.
Watch Scott come to the plate. No conversation with Hunter Wendelstedt about the last at bat and the borderline call that he got punched out on.
Strike, 0-1. Nothing in 2 to Scott Van Slyke. Going through the numbers today, Van Slyke has the highest on base percentage of any of the Dodgers. 0 for 2 tonight. His on base percentage is still .422. Van Slyke with 25 hits and 22 walks. 6 home runs, 6 doubles, and a triple. Down on strikes for the 2nd time tonight. 5th strikeout for Duffy. 2 out and nobody on.
Well, he comes at Van Slyke with a fastball in the first pitch, then an off speed in the second pitch, and then comes back with another off speed that starts off as a strike in the bottom part of the zone. And Van Slyke swings over, and let's not forget his last strikeout where it was a low strike that got him on a strike 3. That one, so he's probably protecting that. That's still in his mind, and he goes after that pitch.
Now here's A.J. Ellis, a single and a walk. And Ellis is always a high on base percentage because of his ability to take a walk. While hitting .208 on the year, is a .387 on base percentage. 20 walks and 14 hits. And a foul back just beneath us. Omar, you have no idea how close I came to being on your lap.
and I reached for it.
I know you. I watched you play.
I was just going to ricochet it over to Orioles so he can catch it. Just get an assist.
1-2 to A.J. Ellis. 2 out, nobody on in the 6th. Dodgers have had difficulty hitting left-handers all year, and tonight's no exception. They have a 1-0 lead. Duffy thought he had strike 3.
Duffy, a very emotional young man, and James Shields, who came over as the veteran leader for the Royals, has really helped him an awful lot. The emotions have gotten the best of him at times, and Shields is a very emotional guy, but he knows how to blow off the steam and then get back on the rubber and concentrate. He's been working with Duffy and building that tool.
Well hit to left. But Gordon will make an easy catch, and that'll end the inning. Dodgers haven't had a hit since the 4th. They've got 4 on the night, but a 1-run lead. Dodger Stadium Thursday night. The Dodgers open a 4-game series with the Cardinals. First 50,000 fans in attendance will receive a Brian the Beard Wilson bobblehead, presented by San Manuel Indian Bingo Casino. Buy your tickets today at Dodgers.com/promotions.
And I heard they cut half of Brian's beard for all those 50,000 bobbleheads, and he still has plenty of.
Oh, really?
Left. Yeah.
Natural hair on the
natural hair
bobblehead?
on the 50,000.
And you heard that where?
Where did I hear that? I don't know. That was in the notes somewhere.
In the creative side of his brain.
In the notes somewhere. That's your story, you're sticking to it. It's in the notes somewhere. Meanwhile, if everything lines up according to plan, Thursday night, Josh Beckett and Adam Wainwright. That in and of itself, beside a bearded bobblehead, should entice you to come to Dodger Stadium. There's a beard behind that. There it is.
See? I told you it was fine, even after they cut it.
Lorenzo Cain leading it off. Takes inside and high, 1 ball and no strikes. Cain has been struck out twice tonight. Cain having a really solid season. 311, 2 home runs, 31 runs batted in, and is about as good a defensive center fielder as there is in the game. Born in Georgia, lives in Florida. Now 28, and he takes a strike. He came from Milwaukee, and he lines one into right center, but there is Romack making an adventurous route, but making the catch, 1 out.
Like that ball got caught up in the lights a little bit. See Jamie making a hand signal with his eyes. He's trying to work his eyes down to get the ball out of the lights. The route he has to run and the angle the ball is descending to him, it can get in the bank of lights every once in a while.
So Romack can exhale, and Hosmer is the batter, and he takes a strike, 0-1. Hosmer is 2 for 2. Has 2 of the 3 Kansas City hits. Kershaw quickly ahead, 0-2.
Both his hits came on fastballs. Clayton and AJ said, okay, enough fastballs right there. Let's throw you the big deuce.
On 0-2, Hosmer rolls it to second base. Rojas picks it up. Hosmer, first baseman, runs rather well. Meanwhile, Kershaw's just rolling right along. 6 strikeouts and a walk. 79 pitches. 49 of them for strikes.
I love the pitch selection right there with that cut fastball low and away or short slider to Hosmer. Because you come back with another curveball, you bring the home run into play in a 1-0 game. You all of a sudden try to throw the best curveball of your life and hang it. And that's the pitch at times has given Clayton a little trouble so far this year.
Billy Butler is the hitter. Bounced into a double play and has been struck out. 0-2. Somehow that pitch just didn't seem fair.
Even when it's up, that wasn't a real good one, but even when it's up, it has a sharp break to it. That's when you know you have an excellent curveball.
Fastball that's whacked into left field. A 2-out single for Billy Butler.
Well, like you said, those pitches are up, so then he comes back down, and sometimes you got to tip your hat to the hitter who did an excellent job, Billy Butler, staying on that pitch. After seeing those first 2 pitches up in the zone, fastball down, he stays with it, he lines it down to left field.
Brings up Alex Gordon. He has struck out and he has walked. And Kershaw and the Dodgers lead 1-0 with 2 out in the bottom of the 6th. Gordon hitless last night in 4 at-bats. Saw a 6-game hitting streak come to an end. Came into the game high and outside. 2-0. 9 home runs, 40 runs batted in. And a Gold Glove caliber outfielder. Owen outside, 3 balls and no strikes. Gordon walked in his last at bat, the only walk given up by Kershaw. Humid night in Kansas City. The 3-0 to Gordon. Here's a strike.
You want to go after him right here if you're Clayton Kershaw. Left on left possibility. You've got the runner on first. Don't want to walk a guy into scoring position, and you don't want to bring up the right-handed, hot-hitting Salvador Perez.
On 3-1, it's 3-2.
Strength against strength is a lot better right here than facing Perez with a man on first and second. 3-1 pitch. It catches the strike zone. Right on the edge.
Comes back and strikes him out. 7 strikeouts for Kershaw. Fell behind and punches out Gordon. We'll go to the 7th inning, and the Dodgers lead it 1-0. Romack, Krienfeld, and Rojas coming up. Play is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box for the new Jalapeno Ranch or Barbecue Ultimate Cheeseburger at participating restaurants. And by the Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2014 Truck of the Year and first ever back-to-back champion. As we head to the 7th inning, the Royals make a pitching change. It's Aaron Crow as Duffy goes 6 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, struck out 5, walked 4, 105 pitches, 67 for strikes. Crow making his 37th appearance. Solid ERA. Opponents hitting .231 against him. Jamie Romack will lead it off. Dodgers with a 1-0 lead. The only run of the game came in the first. Romack is 0 for 2 and takes a strike. Crow, born in Topeka, lives in Kansas City. Outside. Came up with the Royals in 2011. A first-round pick in 2009. Last year, a .338 ERA. And delivers a breaking ball for a strike. It's 1-2.
I'm just thinking back to that first inning. Justin Turner leads off with the triple, and we saw the infield playing in for the Royals. And you know, Ned Yost thinking this is going to be a low-scoring game with Kershaw on the hill, and you also got to give a lot of credit to Danny Duffy because after that he's been shutting down this Dodger offense. So with the Dodgers now, with Duffy out, have to try to figure out another way, just get a couple more runs for Kershaw so he doesn't have to feel like he has to be perfect with every single pitch.
Well, the Royals bullpen is solid. ERA at 3 2/3. Royals bullpen, actually the Royals pitching last 6 games and ERA collectively. Look at that backhanded stab by Infante, and he gets Romack, 1 out, nobody on.
Well, Infante takes away a hit from Jamie Romack. He gets the ball back up the middle. It looked like it was going to be able to get through, but Infante ranging far to his right, backhands it. Makes a good throw over there, slightly off-balance throw to first base.
So 1 out and nobody on. Brings up Trienfeld. He's 0 for 2, and it's 0-1. In his last at-bat, Trienfeld fouled out to Eric Hosmer, who made a terrific play down the right field line near the tarp, over the shoulder catch, sprinting with his numerals facing us. So Crow 0-2 to Trienfeld. Rojas on deck. I was going to mention the Royals ERA in their last 6 games, .289, and it's gone down. And that's into left field. Gordon is there. That's the 2nd out of the 7th. Quickly 2 out, and Rojas is coming up. Kershaw, through his 6 innings of work, has thrown only 88 pitches. He's got a 1-0 lead, and Rojas is grounded out and walked and takes outside 1 ball, no strikes. A battle of left-handers, and Duffy was able to keep pace with Kershaw tonight. Inside that first inning run, and the game began with Justin Turner's leadoff triple on the 11th pitch of the first at-bat of the game. 2 balls and no strikes. High chopper. Here's Valencia. This is a first-rate defensive unit. Kansas City Royals. 7th inning stretch. Dodgers 1, the Royals 0. A lot of work still on the shoulders of Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw is your lead story as we head to the bottom half of the seventh inning. He has struck out 7. He has walked 1. No runs and 4 hits as Perez takes a strike beginning the bottom of the 7th, and it's 0-1. Kershaw on the year now has struck out 93 and walked 8. And immediately ahead of Perez, 0-2.
He doesn't appear on any of the league leader lists yet because he doesn't have an inning pitched for every Dodger game played. So this is the 79th game. That's called a check swing. But the 79th game, he's pitched 70 in the 3rd inning. So when he crosses over the inning per game for the Dodgers, which will probably be about 2 more starts, he'll enter the league lead, and he's at 2.30 in his ERA right now. Well, that would be 4th in the league. This could be his 8th win. That would put him tied for 3rd in the league. 93 strikeout puts him in the top 10 in the league. And the batting average against at 210 right now would put him number 4.
The 1-2. Broken bat, slowly hit to short. No real hurry for Trienfeld as Perez doesn't run well. 1 out in the 7th.
So for those of you who thought he might be out of the All-Star consideration or out of the Cy Young consideration or out of the 20-game win consideration because of missing the starts he did when he was on the DL, well, he's catching up in a hurry.
Kershaw won 16 games last year. If he and the Dodgers can hang on, he will already have won his 8th. And we're not yet at the halfway mark. And he missed a couple of starts. 1 ball and no strikes to Omar Infante, who has flied to right and bounced to 2nd. Royals have had a grand total of 1 runner reach as far as 2nd base. Here's a strike. Kershaw, of course, when he came up, was basically a fastball, curveball pitcher. And there's a fastball whacked into center field by Infante. 5th hit of the night for the Royals. But now the slider really has become an equal among the partners.
Yeah, his slider really is a pitch that he commands better than the curveball. It's a pitch that gets called for a strike by umpires in a more reliable way. And the fastball is super dominant also, even though that one was a hit.
Well, going back to that slider in that last inning, he struck out Alex Gordon. Foul behind 3-0, comes back with 2 fastballs. So you got to think fastball 3-2, and then he drops a slider that Gordon swings over.
7 strikeouts and a walk, and Valencia racks up base hit into left. Valencia 2 for 3. In his career, he's about a .330 hitter against left-handed pitchers.
Kansas City staying with their theory of we're going to attack early with Clayton Kershaw. And a couple of these balls, instead of being on the lane or near the corner, get to the middle of the play. You see right there, A.J. Ellis's glove having to reach back from the inside corner towards the middle of the plate. Also, the ball was up. Let Clayton supply the power, and he just put a good swing on it and let the barrel do the work.
Dodger bullpen is quiet for the moment. This is the closest thing to a threat that the Royals have had all night. First and second, 1 out. Maxwell 0 for 2. Takes a strike, and it's 0-1.
And that last at bat was a perfect example we talked about when you're saying, well, how do you attack somebody like Clayton Kershaw? It wasn't a matter that I'm just going to swing at the first pitch he throws. It's I'm going to be ready to swing if he happens to either get one up or gets in a place that I can handle, and that's exactly what Valencia did. It was a pitch he could handle, get on top of, and get a base hit.
Fonte leading from second, Valencia from first, and it's inside.
A little more stressful outing compared to the Colorado outing, not because of the hits he's given up, but because the run support is not there. This game was out of whack, his last start at this point.
A 1-1 to Maxwell. 1-2. Padres and Giants scoreless in the second inning at AT&T Park.
I love that slider right there as a 1-1 pitch. Not because he got the swing and the miss and he got ahead now here 1-2, but because he gave the hitter something to swing at. That ball was right down the middle, and he just said, I'm going to make sure it's low. If he goes for low and in, you might get a take and fall behind. But you go low and right down the middle, you get the bat started.
Time called by Justin Maxwell with the okay from home plate umpire Hunter Wendelstedt.
And because of that, Oral, you can actually get another swing and miss there, because in the hitter's mind, you're going, okay, I know he can throw a fastball down for a strike, and now he's got that pitch. He can double up with that pitch if he wants to.
Here's a 1-2 with 2 on and 1 out. Did he go around? No. Brian Knight, first base umpire, with a reprieve from the governor. Maxwell will see another pitch.
A good take right there, because that's the exact pitch that Nomar was looking for. Maybe a little bit farther in, gave Maxwell a chance just to read it and take it in time.
So now it's 2-2. One nothing Dodgers, 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. Turner, Rojas, the throw on the outfield side of the bag, keeping the Dodgers' hopes of a double play dashed. But now it's first and third and 2 out.
Well, that was a smart play by Rojas there, because the ball wasn't hit relatively hard. You can see this big high bounce right there. 2-bouncer to Justin Turner, and Maxwell gets down the line very quickly. So there, it's just get at least that one. Don't try to force it. No need to try to make an awkward throw. Try to force it, make a bad throw, then the run ends up scoring. Trust yourself. Trust Kershaw on the mound. Good job all around.
And Rojas' left knee was really vulnerable on that play. First and third, 2 out. Well, to this point, this is the moment of the game. Escobar has bounced to short and has been struck out. The Royals with their first runner as far at third base. Escobar has bounced out and has been struck out. Dodgers nursing a 1-0 lead. Escobar comebacker. Rojas throws and gets him. Oh! through the wickets of Kershaw, over the bag at second. Rojas with a terrific play to end the inning. No runs, 2 hits, 1 man left. Miguel Rojas saving Kershaw for the second time in as many starts. Yeah! That no-hitter saved by Miguel Rojas on a brilliant play in the 7th inning in his last start. Rojas saves his bacon here in the bottom half of the 7th. Escobar looked like he had a base hit up the middle. Rojas would throw him out. 1st and 3rd, 2 out. And so the shutout is still intact. What's ahead for the Dodgers? Let's take a look at the calendar brought to you by 76. Back with the Royals tomorrow night when Dan Herron faces big game James Shields. Then homeward bound, 4-game series with the Cardinals. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon. First pitch at 1:10. So Miguel Rojas, ever since his call-up from AAA, has done everything the Dodgers have asked him to do.
Hey, started out with a tough one, a little error on the little pop-up line drive.
Very first one.
Since then, he's been awesome.
I mean, that's what they called him up for his glove, and I chuckled a little bit because his first play in the big leagues, he made an error, but we knew that wasn't going to last long. We knew he was going to go out there and finally get the nerves and calm down and start making some plays, and that's exactly what we've seen from him.
And here's Kelvin Herrera making his 34th appearance of the year. ERA of 2 1/3, and opponents are hitting .233 against him. And here is Justin Turner, who takes high and inside, 1 ball and no strikes. Meanwhile, in Cincinnati, actually in Chicago, the Cubs have a 3-0 lead in the bottom half of the 6th. The story is Jake Arrieta. One-hopper for the first baseman. Turner's retired, 1 out and nobody on. Jake Arrieta, they always knew in Baltimore he had good stuff. Could he ever find home plate? Well, apparently he's got a new GPS because he has been perfect through 6 innings and he has struck out 8 Cincinnati Reds. Cubs are hitting in the bottom half of the 6th with a 3-0 lead, and Jake Arrieta is perfect through 6 innings. Does that qualify as a jinx on the air if we're talking about it here?
I think we're okay.
All right.
I think you're farther than 200 miles.
Oh, that's the cutoff.
Yeah,
now you tell me.
It's different area code.
It's like a rights holder thing.
Ken takes a strike.
ERA's down. Jake's ERA's down to 1.77, so he's been finding the strike zone quite often. Tonight, thrown 77 pitches, 53 strikes as we watch that game a little bit.
Dodgers were at Camden Yards, I guess it was last year, And Arrieta started the game, and he had just great stuff. But he couldn't find the plate. And then after the game, if I recall correctly, he was set out. And then he'd be traded. And perhaps finally he has put it all together. Well, through 6 innings tonight, he has. Matt Kemp, no balls, 2 strikes. Fouls it back. Kemp 0 for 2 and a walk.
I'll tell you, you got Kelvin Herrera coming into this game. His first 2 pitches to Justin Turner at 98 miles an hour. That pitch to Matt Kemp right there, 99 miles an hour. So he's just coming in, revving back, and letting it fly.
Yasiel Puig is on deck. Dodgers with a run in the first inning. That's the only run of the game. Royals have actually out-hit the Dodgers now 6-4, and Kemp takes one outside. Herrera is the 3rd Royals pitcher tonight. Danny Duffy, 6 innings, 1 run, and 4 hits. Pro pitched a perfect 7th. 2 out. Kelvin Herrera out of the Dominican will turn 25 on New Year's Eve. First full season was 2012 with a 2 1/3 ERA. Last year 3.86. This year it's 2 1/4. Puig doesn't like it. 0-1. He'll be the top of the order for the Royals in the bottom of the 8th. Dodger bullpen remains quiet. 1-1 to Puig.
I love Yasiel in these situations. He against these guys with great stuff. He just relishes the challenge and just turns it up a notch. He matches the intensity of the pitcher's velocity.
No home runs and 4 RBIs this month for Puig. Didn't get cheated on that swing on a 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
And there are times when you face a guy who's throwing that hard, you really try to keep those emotions in check because you want to be nice and calm and relaxed because that creates bat speed, not getting tensed up and squeezing the bat tighter.
99. Herrera wins that battle mano-a-mano and strikes out 2 of the 3 Dodgers he faces in the 8th. Kane, Hosmer, and Butler will bat in the bottom of the 8th against that man. 8th inning. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, celebrating now 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit Dodgers.com for details. Crowd of 28,302, and they had 7,500 walk-ups to watch this guy tonight. And Kershaw's given them their money's worth. He has struck out 7. He's walked 1, scattered 6 hits. The Royals have had 1 runner reach as far as third base, and they've got the top of the order coming up in the bottom of the 8th inning. It'll be Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer, and Billy Butler. Cain's been struck out twice and lined to center field. Kershaw delivers his 103rd pitch for a strike. It's 0-1. The Dodgers now have double barrel action in the bullpen. Cain behind 0-2. If it's a day of the week that ends in wide, J.P. Howell is warming up.
You're right about that, Charlie.
And Brandon League is the other.
And we're glad to see him come in the game because he has been outstanding, both those guys down there. And JP has gotten the brunt of the work when the game has been in the balance. And Brandon has run his resume up the totem pole.
Howell comes in. It'll be his 38th appearance of the year. And Cain is down on strikes. 8th strikeout of the game for Kershaw. He's walked only 1 out in the 8th.
Running out of adjectives with this guy. Keeps striking people out, keeps making good pitches. It's a lot of fun to watch him pitch, I'll tell you that.
I got one for you. He's good.
He's real good. Georgia Tech. Huh?
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Miller, dug out. Oh, what a play by Adrian Gonzalez. At both ends. Miller to Gonzalez, 2 out and nobody on. Turner. There was a pitcher for the Dodgers some years back, Justin Miller. And for that, forgive me, Justin Turner.
It doesn't matter. It's a beautiful play either way. A great play by Turner over there, and Gonzalez picking him up. We saw an earlier play that was a hit by a great effort by both of those guys, but this time it was an out, much appreciated by Clayton Kershaw.
And Gonzalez at the receiving end makes a terrific play. 2 out.
What a contrast compared to the beginning of the year when the Dodgers were struggling with defense, and it's hard to explain all the time the plays that don't get graded as errors. If Justin doesn't make that play, it's probably graded as a hit. But we know as big leaguers and as fans of the game and students of the game, you watch it and you go, that play can be made at the big league level. I know it was a hit, but it can be made. And that's what good defense is about.
Into center field. In and over is Van Slyke. Got a 1-2-3 inning for Kershaw. Justin Turner with a spectacular play. Robbing Hosmer of a hit. We go to the 9th, and the Dodgers cling to a 1-0 lead. Took a 1-0 lead in the very first inning. Justin Turner began the game with an 11-pitch at-bat, which would result in his first triple of the year. Would it be a sign of things to come? Not really. Although Gonzalez would drive in what turned out to be the only run of the game. The Dodgers had Danny Duffy pinned to the ropes in the first inning. Somehow he would survive through 105 pitches through 6. But it's been no picnic for the Dodgers ever since because their bullpen is so darn good. Kershaw, 108 pitches, 70 for strikes through 8 innings. Well, he doesn't have a no-hitter working, merely a shutout.
You know, we saw what happened, how they scored that run, but can't overlook during that first inning is Yasiel Puig hustling down to first base to get an infield hit, too. So Adrian Gonzalez could get that fielder's choice RBI.
So here's Gonzalez, who's 1 for 3, taking high and outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Gonzalez, Van Slyke, and Ellis will bat for the Dodgers here in the 9th inning. Okay. Kenley Jansen now beginning to work in the Dodger bullpen. Kershaw at 108 pitches, 70 for strikes. Jansen, after a rugged Friday night in San Diego, solid on Saturday and Sunday. 100 miles an hour, straight to the backstop. Meanwhile, 3 balls and no strikes to Gonzalez. The Dodgers dearly love an insurance run.
Well, if you're going to let it go like that, right? It's like Major League, right? Charlie Sheen throwing it to the backstop. 100.
Arrieta's no-hit bid has been jinxed, and Billy Hamilton got a hit, Charlie.
So Kershaw remains the only no-hit pitcher, along with Thursday night starter for the Dodgers, Josh Beckett. Leadoff walk for Adrian Gonzalez. And here comes Scott Van Slyke. Jake Arrieta had been perfect through 6 and had struck out 8. Hamilton spoils the fun. A.J. Ellis is on deck. 98 and a strike, nothing in 1. Van Slyke has bounced out and has been struck out twice. One ball, 1 strike to Scott Van Slyke.
At this point in the game, I'm sure Don Mattingly was considering using D. Gordon as a pinch runner here for Adrian Gonzalez to maybe think about picking up a insurance run. Maybe he'll think about that if Adrian gets the second base. See D. Gordon down in the dugout stirring around.
Van Slyke, 1 and 2.
Walking back and forth, loosening his legs.
Well, if that were to be the case, Van Slyke would move from center to first, and presumably Ethier would come off the bench to play center.
He looks like he's getting ready to hit right there, that armor he's putting on.
Perhaps for Romack. Van Slyke has been struck out for the 3rd time tonight. That's the 3rd strikeout for Herrera and the first out of the night.
Yeah, it looks like Herrera, when he gets to 100, he can't control it. He gets to 99, 98, he's just fine. Tones it down a little bit, and then all of a sudden, he misses on 4 pitches against Gonzalez, and then seems to find the strike zone and just throwing it by hitters.
So there's 1 out, and A.J. Ellis coming up. Ellis a hit, a walk, and he flied to left. 1 run, 4 hits for the Dodgers. No runs, 6 hits for the Royals. Ellis at 98, high and inside. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th, Alex Gordon, Salvador Perez, and Omar Infante scheduled to bat for the Royals. Padres have a 1-0 lead, middle of the third in San Francisco. 2 balls, no strikes to Ellis. So Herron and Shields tomorrow. First pitch about 10 past 5 Pacific. Shields has 8 wins. Herron looking for his 8th. Ellis takes a strike.
Don Mattingly might be playing with a short bench. We don't know how bad Hanley Ramirez's shoulder is, so that's the right-handed hitter on the bench. But if he's unavailable, then his only other right-handed hitter is Butera, and he's got to save him in case anything happened to A.J. Ellis. And with Ethier and Gordon from the left side, thinking about just using a pinch runner and already having the game in hand at 1-0, you might want to save your pieces in case there's a disaster in the 9th and they play extra frames.
Sounded high. 3-1.
2 guys I faced as a pitcher hitting that sounded high. Nolan Ryan and Dwight Gooden. I know Nomar saw every pitch delivered to him, but with my ability level, I did not. Not every pitch.
Romack in the on-deck circle. 3-2. With 1 out in the 9th. Gonzalez was caught stealing back in the 4th inning. Now, whether it was an aborted hit and run or not, we'll find out after the game. Van Slyke was the batter, and Van Slyke would eventually strike out in that at-bat. On 3-2. Ellis just gets a piece of it.
Salvador Perez returning the favor for Hunter Wendelstadt right here, taking a walk out to the mound. No meeting necessary, but that foul ball right there got a piece of Hunter. Perez giving him a little break. Take a look here when AJ swings. That goes right off the face mask of our home plate umpire.
Mentioning Nolan Ryan a bit ago. 73 in this ballpark. He pitched a no-hitter.
1 of 5 or 7 that he had.
Ellis on 3-2 fouls it back. So A.J. Ellis at the moment hitting .205. Has 15 hits and 20 walks. Gonzalez the short lead, and a ground ball into left field for a base hit. Well, the Dodgers have a bit of a rally going here in the 9th, but neither Gonzalez nor Ellis are blessed with speed. Jamie Romack is coming up, but he is being called back. Ellis splits the seam between short and third, and Andre Ethier is coming up to pinch hit. Ethier has had a June to forget. He's hitting .193 this month, 11 for 57. Now remember, all 3 outfielders for the Royals are very good. Gordon in left, Kane in center, Maxwell in right. Gonzalez has many baseball attributes. Base speed is not one of them.
But he is a very good base runner. But you're right, Charlie. He is a bit of molasses as far as the feet. Blue.
Ethier takes a strike, 0-1. So a hard single to one of the outfielders right at him. It's no certainty that he'll produce a run with 2 out.
Oh, it's because we're talking molasses, right? Or molasses or?
Molasses.
Okay.
Slow as molasses.
0-2. Carlos Trienfeld on deck. Clayton Kershaw and Drew Gutierrez in your picture.
That conversation tells us for sure we're going to see Kenley Jansen. Clayton usually on the bench with the towel wrapped around his arm and all by himself. He's up talking.
Jansen continues to warm. Kershaw has thrown 108 pitches, one more than he did in his no-hit start. Jack Greinke. Warm up. Gonzalez and Ellis leading off the bases. And a ground ball up the middle into center field for a base hit. Here comes Gonzalez without a throw. Andre Ethier splits the seam up the middle. In to score is Adrian Gonzalez, and the Dodgers take a 2-1 lead.
Mentioned the tough month that Ethier has had, but he comes up big here in a pinch hit situation, puts the ball in play, and sometimes you need a ground ball with eyes right back up the middle, just under the glove of tremendous range with Escobar. And I think because the way that ball was hit, it gives Gonzalez plenty of time to come around and score.
Escobar's got to die for this ball for me. Got to lay out and knock that thing down, especially if Gonzalez is not. Even if the ball deflects 5 feet away, there's no way Gonzalez goes home.
But he did, and Herrera's going home. And the Dodgers lead 2-0 with 2 on. A run in here in the top of the 9th. Single in the top half of the 9th inning, and for Ethier, his 27th run, plating Adrian Gonzalez in that old baseball cliche about the leadoff walks late in games. What happens? Gonzalez leads off with a walk. Van Slyke struck out. Ellis found a seam between short and third for a base hit, and then Ethier pinch hitting for Romack. Drives in an insurance run. This is Michael Marriott making his 14th appearance. A rookie who was born in West Hills, California, and lives in Texas now. D. Gordon is pinch hitting. Carlos Trienfeld. Gordon is likely to come in, and Rojas will move from second to short. The Dodgers with an important insurance run And here is Gordon taking a strike. It is 0-2. D. Gordon is third in the National League with runners in scoring position. Takes one in the dirt. Ellis not sure how far away it was from Perez, so he stays at second base. D. Gordon is hitting .349 with runners in scoring position. On 1-2. Outside and high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Michael Marriott, the rookie. D. Gordon, by comparison, now a seasoned veteran. Having a great year. There's Marriott. 8th round pick in 2010 of the Royals. Foul back and out of play. Andre Ethier with a dribbler up the middle, scoring Adrian Gonzalez, giving the Dodgers a 2-0 lead. Rojas on deck. Ellis leads from second. Ethier from first.
And you got a shallow outfield out there. You got D. Gordon up at the plate. They also know how important the runs are here, so they're trying to stay in to cut off that runner with AJ at second. But D. Gordon has been able to find gaps and has some power to hit it to the wall.
Not this time. 2 out. And Rojas coming up. Rojas saved a run in the bottom of the 7th. Rojas, of course, saved the no-hitter in Kershaw's last start. Kept the Royals off the scoreboard in the bottom half of the 7th inning, robbing Escobar of a hit. Rojas tonight bounced out twice. Ellis is at second. Ethier is at first. Jansen is warming in the bullpen. And the Dodgers with a big insurance run here in the 9th.
A little easier to score A.J. Ellis from second base now compared to when Adrian Gonzalez was out there, because now you have 2 outs. Get to 2 outs and 2 strikes. You're moving not only on contact but on the swing. Gives the guy with a little slower foot speed a head start.
3 good defenders in the outfield for the Royals as Rojas takes outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Rojas at .273. 4 RBIs and a double. On 2-0. There's a strike, 2-1. In the bottom of the 7th with a couple of runners on. Rojas makes the play and gets the speedy Escobar at first base. Kershaw certainly appreciative, and now it's a 2-1 count. Rojas chops it to the right side. Oh, look at Hosmer. He's something, isn't he? He's made about a half a dozen terrific plays in the first 2 games of this series. But the Dodgers tack on an insurance run. 1 run, 2 hits, 2 left. Bottom of the 9th. Hosmer strikes again. Kenley Jansen coming in. He'll be facing Gordon, Perez, and Infante. Jansen couldn't get out of his own way. He had some adjustments made on Saturday, and on Sunday he would strike out the side, getting Medica, Rivera, and Maven to record his 22nd save of the year. And tonight he's in search of his 23rd, and he'll be facing Alex Gordon, Salvador Perez, and Omar Infante. After Clayton Kershaw goes 8 innings tonight, no-hitter, merely a shutout, and 6 base hits, 8 strikeouts, and 1 walk. So here's Jansen. Spent a portion of Saturday afternoon in a session with Rick Honeycutt, Kenny Howell, and Chuck Prim. And then on Sunday, he comes in and strikes out the side. So here he is, ready to go, and Dodgers make some defensive changes, which we will attend to in a moment. Alex Gordon struck out twice and walked against Kershaw, first pitch, at 92 and under the knees. One of the problems that Kenley had been having, first 3 or 4 pitches out of the bullpen, 88, 89, and then it took about 3 or 4 pitches to get to where he normally is. Here's 1 out.
Now they've made an adjustment slightly to the way his arm swing and his body are timed up together, so now he's a lot more free and easy, and also the arm is getting out in front with the hand, which is giving him a little bit more velocity and a little bit more of this late sharp movement, which is really important for a guy who throws a cut fastball.
And just as important, the Dodgers getting an insurance run in the top of the ninth. Perez 0 for 3 tonight. Had a home run and a double last night. And there's a strike, 0-1. So Jansen in search of his 23rd save. And if he gets that, Kershaw will improve his record to 8-2. 1 out in the ninth. 94.
94, late and tight. That ball came in and just had a real small cut to it, but it was really late. Not the big pattern one. He quick pitched him right there.
Yeah, he did, but still at 95 miles an hour. And the difference between having a break that's earlier when he releases as compared to late allows the hitter. A hitter has an easier time squaring the ball up when it's early out of his hand and the starts to break. Later, you assume you're going to be able to square it up, but it's a late break and it ends up hitting either at the end of your bat or jamming you.
Blowing outside. Kenley Jansen, that a listen session on Saturday afternoon. And a slight adjustment, and so far so good. 2 out.
He's hiding the ball better. He's getting the late movement out front, and he's getting down the hill where he's really releasing the ball out front in front of his landing leg. Not getting stuck behind him as far as his arm swing and then having to spin off line a little bit. The ball has more of a pattern. Now he's guarding his arm swing, getting it out front, and it's late and sharp.
2 outs, 8 pitches, 0-1 to Infante, who's 1 for 3. Infante with a single into center field. Back in the 7th, and now the Dodgers are a strike away. In the bottom of the 4th at AT&T Park, the Padres lead the Giants 1-0. No balls and 2 strikes. Infante, a .247 hitter. barely stays alive.
That's a good foul ball right by Infante. That's the best pitch of the night that Kenley has thrown. 95 right on the knees. Late cut. Really a very encouraging pitch if you're Rick Honeycutt.
Valencia's on deck. The Dodgers would rather see him tomorrow. On 0-2, veteran Infante stays alive.
I'll tell you right now, Kenley Jansen has a hitter set up for a good breaking ball if he wants to show it. It's 0-2. Why not just show it, get something in your head? Because every hitter right now, when they approach the plate against Jansen, I can look fastball because that's what he's going to come at me with, that cutter.
Finish him off in this game and set him up for tomorrow.
No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Got him. And the game is over. Kenley Jansen retires a side in order. Strikes out Perez and Infante to record his 23rd save. And for Clayton Kershaw, his 8th win of the year. Now it's time to take a look at the Lexus Player of the Game. And while Turner had a terrific night tonight, this evening belonged to Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw strikes out 8, walks only 1, lowers his earned run average to 2 1/4.